Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Big Money Talks, episode 6 this week. I had to take a brief hiatus last week due to some circumstances, and I'm back and better than ever, as somebody's theme song used to say. And I'm bringing up theme songs because next week, for Big Money Talks number 7, I will be doing a list again. I did that the second episode with my top 5 favorite matches. So I will be doing, I think, because there's so many, a top 10 favorite wrestling entrance themes. I might do that. I was thinking of top 5, but after just going through all of the amount of theme songs there are, God, there's so many, and there's so many good ones. There really are. Current and older, and Attitude Era. There's so many of them, and I will take some time between this week and next week. I'm gonna have a very busy week outside of wrestling, but probably over the weekend, I am going to listen to a bunch of wrestling entrance themes, and I'm going to rank them. That should be exciting. There are a lot of wrestling themes that I particularly enjoy from many wrestlers, and this one's going to be tough. The matches one, that was a difficult one, but this is going to be, I know this one's going to be really difficult. So tune in for that one next week. As for now, I don't have anything planned except talking about Raw and SmackDown. And if you notice, actually, I'm a little situated differently. That also happened while I was away last week. Did a little bit of moving, not like moving out to another house or anything like that, but did a little winter cleaning, you could say, spring cleaning in the winter. And yeah, so my new setup, and of course, my 3 lovely gentlemen are joining me as well. So, what do I want to start with? Because I missed last week's, we've gone through a couple of things that have happened on both shows. But let's talk about the good, because we like talking about the good first. And the good, if you haven't, figured it out by now, SmackDown. SmackDown is a great show. SmackDown is, there's a lot of people who have affinity for AEW over WWE. So they would pick Dynamite as the best show. That's fine. And I do watch AEW as well, but I just don't, I guess because my fandom with WWE is so much longer, and AEW really just started. SmackDown for me right now is the best show of the week. The Roman Reigns storyline is the best thing in wrestling right now. I can't have anything above that. The Roman Reigns storyline is the best thing going on right now. And from what happened the past couple of weeks on SmackDown, we had Adam Pearce, who was supposed to be facing Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. Shinsuke Nakamura, all of a sudden, is a big deal. I'm happy about that because I like Shinsuke Nakamura. So please, more excellent Shinsuke Nakamura matches. They had the Gauntlet 2 weeks ago, and Shinsuke went through Rey Mysterio, Baron Corbin, and Daniel Bryan. Very interesting because I did not think that Shinsuke was going to win against Daniel Bryan, and that he pulled it off. They made him look really, really good in that match. So much so that it carried into the next week. But we'll talk about that in a moment. So throughout that show 2 weeks ago, Adam Pearce was getting bombarded basically by Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. And wow, like it was very interesting, the dynamic there too, because 2 weeks ago, Adam Pearce was pretty much like cowering away and didn't want to be talking to Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman, and they showed him kind of like fearful, which as an authority figure, not a good way to do business, obviously. But I really liked what they did with it because it gave Roman that, oh, he had all the confidence in the world. I run SmackDown, not you, Adam Pearce. So that followed into the week after when Paul Heyman put Adam Pearce in the gauntlet match, and he came out at the end, and Shinsuke got beat down by Roman and Jey Uso. That bastard, Jey Uso. Oh, that Jey Uso. And then Jey super kicked Adam Pearce, who just fell down like a sack of potatoes. It was phenomenal. His selling on that was great. And then Jey put Adam on top of Shinsuke. 1, 2, 3. Adam Pearce goes to the Royal Rumble to face Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Or so he thought. The next week, now, last Friday, it was so interesting how they did that. Like, they had that dynamic 2 weeks ago where he was fearful, but then last week, he was just like, oh, I know what's going to happen. You guys are going to beat me up. He's just signing the contract, whatever. First, it was going to be a last man standing. Roman didn't want a last man standing. He wanted, I'm sorry, no, he didn't want no disqualification. That was what the first contract was for. The second contract was for last man standing. And then Roman wanted him to sign it in the ring. So they had a contract signing in the ring, but the whole night, Adam Pearce was being weird. Like he wasn't showing that fear that he was showing the week prior, and he was just going along with everything. It was a little weird. So they had the contract signing at the end, and he signs the contract. He gives it to Roman. Roman signs the contract. And then he just takes the book and closes it up, and he's got the microphone, and he says, I've been waiting all night for you to do that. And that's like, huh? What's going on? And, so then obviously the reveal, he walks up the ramp, Roman and Jey and Paul, they're all like, what's he talking about? And he goes up the ramp, and then he starts like hobbling a little bit, and his knee, all those old injuries from many years ago. And as an authority figure, I am allowed to basically, if there's something that happens, card subject to change. And he puts Kevin Owens in his place for the Royal Rumble. That was really cool, the way that they did that. I loved that. And now I would have liked to see Adam Pearce wrestle. It's the Royal Rumble. I mean, the main event, even though the title match might be the main event, the main event really are the Royal Rumble matches. So I wouldn't have minded seeing Adam Pearce wrestle, but the way that they did this, I'm okay with it. And it kind of leaves open maybe Adam Pearce will wrestle, maybe on TV in a tag team match with Kevin. I don't know. So we'll see what happens there. That I did really enjoy that though. Um, they haven't had Sasha doing much. She just attacked, or she was going to attack Carmella last week, and then Reginald stood in between them. And then apparently, in order for for Carmella to get the match with Sasha, she needs to face Reginald first. Sasha needs to face Reginald first. That's interesting. Like some intergender action on SmackDown maybe this week. That's interesting. Haven't seen that in a while on on WWE really in general. Um, all right, I mean it is kind of like about time that Reginald, gets beaten up. So I'm good with that. Uh, he's very good acrobatically. He's shown from the past couple of weeks. So if they actually have a match, that could be really good. I would be interested in seeing that. Bailey. So one of the highlights of SmackDown last week. I mean, what wasn't a highlight really? The whole show was great. Uh, Ding Dong Hello, the premiere of Ding Dong Hello. Although very interesting, the premiere of Ding Dong Hello, right after the premiere of The Waiting Room with Dr. Britt Baker on AEW on that last Wednesday. So that was a little interesting. Both are role models, in their respective companies. So that was a little interesting. But Bianca Belair was the first guest on Ding Dong Hello, and she had to go through the door that was set up in the ring. That was funny. Bailey and Bianca, they have good dynamic, I've noticed. Now, while Bailey technically won the feud, I think when was it? Was either the first SmackDown or the last SmackDown of 2020 or the first SmackDown of 2021. They had that match, and Bailey won, which had been going on since Survivor Series. So, okay. I mean, as WWE likes to do, they just start and stop feuds and insert here and there and, whatever. But I didn't mind it. Bianca is incredibly entertaining. So I'm happy. We'll see what happens with that. Then we had another surprise in the last couple of weeks, Apollo Crews. I've always been a fan of Apollo Crews, and he's stepped up just incredibly, and they've been booking him very strong. They did that double match 2 weeks ago, and it was a little odd, but I liked, like Apollo just slapped Biggie, and he's like, "Give me that match again," because it was a double pin, and Apollo lost, but nobody looked bad in this. Like both of them got over, and it was just a great thing to see, because you don't see that much on the show that we're going to talk about after this. And it was really good. And then this past Friday, Apollo had a match with Sami Zayn, who they've been doing some funny stuff with, the conspiracy stuff. That doesn't sound like some real life stuff going on right now. Just conspiracy stuff. But hey, less than 24 hours. So Sami and Apollo had the match on Friday, and Apollo won that, grabbing the tights. The ref saw Sami grab the tights, but didn't see Apollo grab the tights. So the conspiracy continues. I'm fine with that conspiracy continuing past tomorrow, January 20th. And yeah, so Apollo is just, he's got this confidence again, like he did on Raw when he was the United States champion. And I'm really liking it a lot. It's like heelish. He's not a full heel, but it's working. I'm really entertained by it. So, 2 thumbs up. Dirty Dogs, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, they got the tag team championship off of the Street Profits. I'm okay with that. It looks like it's showing a bit more of a serious side with Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. So that's what I wanted. I've said, I didn't actually mind if they took the titles off of them. So let's see what happens with that. I'm sure they'll have a rematch and maybe win them back. I don't know. I don't know how they'll do that. But I'll be okay with Dolph and Robert Roode keeping the titles for a little bit. As much as I don't really care about them as an act, I can't knock their ring talent, and I wanted to see the titles away from the Street Profits for a little bit. So let's see what happens with that. While SmackDown is the best weekly wrestling show on television right now, it's time to get a little bit sour. And as you see, I'm wearing a shirt today in honor of the great Alex Pulowski, the great one-man showman. Some sour graps on Fightful Select. Really, really awesome podcast. You should go and subscribe and go listen to that, because boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right. All right. Oh boy. All right. Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw fucking sucks. I'm just going to come right out and say it. Monday Night Raw is a terrible, terrible show. And I'm smiling and I'm laughing about it only because it's a terrible fucking show. I am going to curse. So if you have children and you don't want to hear them cursing, I'm sorry, they already heard it twice. I'm sure that's not gonna, this isn't going to be heard by children anyway. Excuse me. Let me just give me a second. Hold on. Okay. Monday Night Raw. Holy shit. I don't understand how the same company is producing these 2 shows, because one of them is the best weekly wrestling show. The other one is the worst weekly wrestling show. Like, Vince McMahon runs the whole company. He approves everything. But SmackDown is an infinity amount times better than Raw. Just wow. 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 Raw is trash. It is garbage. Garbage. I am just bored out of my mind watching that show. There is very little that hits. Very little that hits. It is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Um, so like Alexa Bliss and the Fiend and all that stuff. All right. So 2 weeks ago, Orton, or last week, sorry, last Monday, Orton gets burned by Alexa. Uh, Drew McIntyre was supposed to face Orton in the main event, but Orton, Drew McIntyre, unfortunately, tested positive for COVID, asymptomatic, thankfully. So he's off the show. In his place, randomly, Triple H shows up for an announcement. There's no announcement. And Orton comes out and interrupts him and says, oh, I want to get you again in a match and whatever. There's no match. And so for the main event, it's Orton and Triple H, but there's no match. There's no ref. It's just them brawling with each other. Very quickly, Triple H gets his sledgehammer. And then the sledgehammer is on fire. And the lights go out. And the lights come back. And Triple H is gone. But Alexa Bliss is behind Orton. And she just lifts her hand up and fire burns him in the face. And that's how they end the show. That's how they end the show. So Triple H has disappeared. Nobody seems to care about that. And Alexa now can shoot fire out of her hands. And this is weird and this is wrong because, I said this on my Raw recap yesterday at Cage-Side Seats. They pretty much killed the Fiend dead. Like, no, I mean, he went on fire and he's dead right now. But back at Hell in a Cell 2019, Seth Rollins and the Fiend had that match, and it was just abysmal. And he was killed that night. The crowd that night was chanting AEW. AEW had just started, and the crowd was chanting AEW, AEW to end Hell in a Cell in 2019. And that didn't stop WWE from killing him even further by having Goldberg defeat him in Saudi Arabia for the Universal Championship. So the Fiend and Bray Wyatt in the Funhouse, when that started, my interpretation of it was always that the Funhouse was Bray's imagination, basically. And the, Abby the Witch and Mercy the Buzzard and Ramblin' Rabbit, and then Huskus the Pig Boy. They were like just, pieces of Bray's broken mind. Abby the Witch, obviously Sister Abigail. Huskus the Pig, Husky Harris from before the Wyatt family stuff. Mercy the Buzzard, Follow the Buzzard. Ramblin' Rabbit, though, that's an interesting one, because now that I'm thinking about it, Ramblin' Rabbit, it doesn't really signify a time in Bray's career that I can think of, at least. But he's just like the Kenny of South Park. He just dies all the time. uh, and that's it. And then he comes back the next week. But when Vince McMahon got his hands full time on the Fiend stuff, it all went downhill from there. I interpreted the Funhouse and the characters in the Funhouse as inside Bray's head, not a literal place that you could just walk up to, you know? And I think that that's a lot of people had that same thought. So when the Seth Rollins feud happened, they started, now the puppets are showing up in back, behind people, behind a box or, some set pieces or whatever. And then Seth gets into the Firefly Funhouse and lights it on fire, and then magically the Funhouse comes back. It's rebuilt. But ever since then, the Funhouse turned into this like literal thing, and I'm just not I haven't been a fan of that. I don't like that they did that. So the original one, while yes, all right, Bray can turn into the Fiend, but we know that the Fiend is Bray. But suspending disbelief and all that stuff. Did it for Undertaker for 30 years. But they didn't give the Fiend the Undertaker type stuff with like the lightning and the that fanfare, all that stuff. They just made the Fiend creepy as hell, but also like this psychological thing of Bray, how I interpreted it, and just what they've done since that Hell in a Cell. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And now, since Orton got involved, now there's just fire. Fire. I guess it's like Firefly. Playing on that. I just don't like it. I don't like it. The match, the Firefly Inferno match at TLC. The match was okay. I mean, the fire and then the swirl fire and all that stuff. I mean, that looked really cool. But like now they lit the Fiend on fire, and now there's a huge fire feud going on. Like, shouldn't the fire have been leading up to a Firefly Inferno match? And then that's the end, instead of us continuing to, so now, all right, so Alexa Bliss was brought in, and I really liked the possession aspect of it when it first started. Like the Fiend's name would get mentioned, and she'd just go into trance. And she'd do the Sister Abigail. She did that to Nikki Cross, I think, 2 times, and somebody else. And that was really cool. I liked that because it's psychological. The psychological stuff I liked and like currently. But now they gave Alexa the Fiend overproduction stuff of magic and pop in and out. And now I can shoot fire out of my hands. It just is like, I was watching last night, and Alexa is walking down a hallway somewhere, and she can shoot fire out of her hands, and she's going to face Asuka. And there's just this dude, like, just walking by her, and somebody else on the side. Like, does nobody care about this? Like, you bet your ass I'm not going to be walking by some woman who can shoot fire out of her hands and is, like, unhinged. I'm not gonna just, oh hey, yeah, I'm gonna walk by while this crazy person who could shoot fire out of their hands is stepping. I'm gonna cower away. I'm gonna run in the opposite direction. That was just strange to me. And then they had the match, and then the lights go out, and they come back, and the fiend, the woman fiend, whatever they're doing now, so they couldn't put her in like a mask like the fiend. They just like they give her this goth lipstick and different clothing, and then she's like no selling also like the fiend. Oscar was trying to hit her and she's just blocking them. That was interesting. The possession aspect, the psychological stuff, interesting. uh but just like I'm very up and down on it, and I'm not happy with the magical fire shooting, pop in and out, cinematic magical stuff. I'm not really that much enjoying it anymore. And I'm sad about it. I really am. um so now Orton has a mask. It's kind of funny, kind of a funny reveal. I had said in my review, I thought maybe, you know maybe they do like an eye patch with some burn marks, or like a Phantom of the Opera style, like half face mask, and do some like dramatic reveal at the Royal Rumble. Um, but no, Randy is in like a full on lucha mask, nose opening, so they showed the burning here at his nose, and then like right under the eyes. So, oh hey, so they went a little extra with that. I appreciate that. Um, but man, it's just not good. It is the most of the show as a whole is just not good. It, they have people can declare themselves for the Royal Rumble, and then people can't declare themselves for the Royal Rumble. It's very weird. And for whatever reason, AJ Styles is like the gatekeeper of the Royal Rumble. You have to face AJ Styles in order to get in. I don't understand that. Drew Gulak, it happened to 2 weeks ago, and he lost. And then Ricochet yesterday, who lost. But while I was upset about it, the ending, the ending Styles Clash, that was a great moment that I can't be upset at. That was a really great moment. Ricochet bumped off the top rope into a Styles Clash. That was a really great spot. It really was. So I can't knock that. But man, it's just oh my god, it's really bad. It's really bad. Um, Jeff was with Jeff Hardy was with Riddle, and they were like tagging. But Jeff now suddenly decided, oh, I want to go face Elias again. So he's in the feud with Elias and with Jackson Biker, and they're trading wins and doing stupid shit. Uh, so Riddle is just awful now, just awful. His promos are trash. They did that one Bronouns with the Venn diagram last month. I think it was. That was entertaining, but it's just no, no. Um, yeah. So Bobby Lashley stomped on his foot last night. Stomped on his foot. His foot was like here, right off camera, like here, and Bobby stomped here. Ow! You know. So yeah, and they showed that on camera, you know. So yeah, just no, it's not good. Uh, wow. What else? What else? Uh, How could I forget this? How could I forget this? Miz and Morrison are the worst. They're the dirt worst, and I never want to see them on my television again. As a team, please split them up like 3 months ago, please. The dirt sheet segment yesterday with Goldberg wasn't Goldberg, it was Gilbert. Okay, fine. But then they got a fake Drew McIntyre, who actually was an actor that a lot of us know from a couple of movies. The Santa Claus, which I just watched over Christmas, and he's Bernard the Elf. David, what's his name? David. I gotta pull this up because I mean, for what it was, it wasn't bad. David Krumholtz. Hopefully I'm saying that right. David Krumholtz, from the Santa Claus, Harold and Kumar, and Numbers fame television. He was Drew McIntyre, and a bad Drew McIntyre, of course, but his ass crack was on television. I'm sure Vince enjoyed that. Oh my God. I can't believe they gave Miz the briefcase back. I really can't believe it. It's just so bad. Hey, everybody. Is this the worst segment since Bailey, This Is Your Life? Correct. Is this literally the worst shit that I've seen this year so far? Correct. I hate that shit. I hate it. It is awful. I actually mute it. It's awful. It's so bad. It's so bad. Raw is so bad. Nothing matters on Raw. That's why. Like, people don't get over. Like I was saying before, like on SmackDown, everything is logical. Everything is consistent. Everything is good. People get over. SmackDown is great. Raw sucks. Nobody gets over on Raw. Like they do like the Alexa stuff and the Orton stuff and Drew stuff, and you get that like those little tiny things. Okay, all right, yeah, here and there. But wow, Raw is bad. Raw is bad. Yeah, so we're gonna leave it at that. Next week, like I said, I will do a top 10, most likely top 10 favorite wrestling entrance themes. And hopefully, Raw is better next week. I have a sliver of hope. A little bit. Very, very tiny. Very tiny. Or it's going to just be like an F-graded show. Because it's going to be fucking awful. F for fucking awful. So sorry I had a rant today and curse and Alex, if you see this, trust me, the sour grap stuff, that's all you. I just have to get it out every once in a while. So that's it. I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. There will be more of this. Hopefully happier reviews next Tuesday. And until next time, bye for now.